Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and easy way to support the channel for those of you looking for a safe space to keep your cryptocurrencies. There is a Ledger affiliate link in the description below the video. I do not work for Ledger. I am an affiliate and I like their products. I think they're quite swell. So, my friends, today I'm going to be as honest with you as possible. I think we had this discussion in February or March. There have been a lot of people saying this out loud. And in logical terms, it does make sense. And I'm going to try to explain it to you in that way so that we can both be on the same page. I do think that the cryptocurrency market, as it currently is, this is a personal opinion. I think the crypto market is going to completely absorb, devour, swallow, eat, encompass the entirety of the current financial system. It's a little too weird for me to hear all the time that this bank, that bank, this bank, that bank, this central bank, those sovereign wealth funds, that country over there, those 13 nations are all buying up Bitcoin and for it to not mean something. That's a personal thing. You might disagree, but the news is kind of all leaning in the same exact direction. I don't think we would have all these countries buying up tons of Bitcoin for nothing. Same exact thing with BlackRock getting into the market. One of the core ideas for Bitcoin is the idea of deflation. So fiat currencies inflate quite heavily. Bitcoin, however, doesn't continue in 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin coming out of the machine is going to double. It gets cut in half. This deflation, in essence, causes everything around Bitcoin to actually diminish in value compared to Bitcoin. You might have heard before a number of years, this is a real thing. You might have heard a couple of years ago, a lot of economists, what have you, people who didn't like crypto, but who love it now, would always talk about that Bitcoin was bad for the economy. Bitcoin's going to ruin the current system that we have. The reason why they kept on saying that is because the current system is meant to constantly inflate. There's always meant to be more money constantly just kind of printed and thrown out there. But we're not going to get into that entire topic because I have my own opinions. On the other side, for Bitcoin, this is why you hear me say a lot of times, I wish more normal people got into it, because Bitcoin is for the people, it's for the public. But holding on to Bitcoin basically sets you up, and I say this this is all me. Holding Bitcoin basically sets you up for economic prosperity comparative to what's happening to fiat currencies. Remember this? Yeah, this was spring. We were talking about real estate, and I brought up the story of that TV show $1 Million Listing, where somebody was trying to sell a home for $5 million. And one of the people who wanted to buy it, he wanted to pay in Bitcoin. This is 2012, 13, 14. And the owner was like, that guy's crazy. I don't even know what that is. I don't want any of that. Comparatively, that apartment's worth around 11, 12, 13 million dollars. Pretty good profit. That 5 million in Bitcoin would have been around $150 million, though, comparatively. So the value of the asset went up, but the valuation of that Bitcoin went up even further. The more money that gets printed, the more money that gets thrown into Bitcoin. The more money that gets thrown into Bitcoin, the higher Bitcoin's price goes. The higher Bitcoin's price goes, the more money gets thrown into Bitcoin, the more money that gets printed from fiat currencies, and this is basically how it happens. So, the former Coinbase chief technical officer recently was at an event, and he declared that he believes that if things keep going in this direction, we are going to see Bitcoin take over real estate. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Remember when we had the news that the CEO of BlackRock was talking about the potential future market cap of Bitcoin and the idea of it eclipsing real estate? He's also not the first person to say that. The idea basically comes down to what we were talking about earlier. Let's say, for instance, you buy a home for an investment property for $250,000. Bitcoin's price is $250,000. Over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 years, the 250, apartment that you bought is now 380. You've made a healthy profit in the real estate space. In 3 years, you made some good money. Bitcoin, however, went to 780,000. The real estate was still really good, but it wasn't as good as Bitcoin performed. 10 more years, this property goes to it's actually $510,000. You have a really strong portfolio. Bitcoin, however, is like $3.2 million. That's one of the things. Remember, this was sometime last year. I have a couple of friends who are really into real estate, and I told you this again because I keep having this discussion with them. It's like a mutual thing that we keep going over. It's this idea of, and this ties into staking. If you can buy a property or you can buy crypto, when you buy the property, you have to pay property taxes, you have to pay HOA fees, and in many cases, if you're renting it out a certain way, you might have to pay for the electricity, for the gas, what have you, so on and so forth. You have to furnish the place. You have to look for someone to live inside of the property. You have to hope they're not crazy, that they're not destroying your walls, that if they're painting it a wonderful fuchsia color, that by the time they leave, that they repaint it to the original color that the wall was before, that they haven't destroyed something, that they're not calling you every single day to complete. There's a lot that goes into owning real estate and being a landlord. On the other side, Bitcoin kind of just sits there. You just have to find like a safe place to keep it, whether it be a Ledger or Coinbase or Binance, and then that's it. And then the other part is the money that you would be making from rent, owning the actual apartment. If you haven't seen it this year, Bitcoin, we've had like 7 protocols already being announced. Bitcoin's going to have staking. Bitcoin's going to have like an actual passive yield on it, either on the main chain, on a secondary chain, or through some other type of phantasmagorically future thing that we're going to have. These things, in essence, after you get the rent, after you pay your HOA, and after you pay your taxes on the real estate, kind of comes out almost to the exact same amount, if not maybe a little bit more, without having to do anything. It sounds far-fetched, but this is exactly what it is. Do you remember? I know I keep saying that because we go over a lot. That company in Mexico, if you weren't here, they're a mega real estate conglomerate company, and they sold $1 billion worth of property to buy Bitcoin. And they said within the next year, they plan on selling another $10 billion worth of their real estate holdings to throw it into Bitcoin. Imagine you throw $10 billion into, hypothetical. I don't have that. $10 billion into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin 10x's in price. Those homes are not going to 10x in price in the same exact amount of time. Now imagine you don't have to deal with 1,400 clients. And instead, the Bitcoin just sits there silently, creating passive income the entire time. He stated that the rise of Bitcoin is likely to make it the primary store of value in the near future, replacing real estate in the process. He said, when Bitcoin wins, real estate falls in real terms, is what we were talking about. The real estate does fine, or might not, but this is just kind of how the momentum ends up going. He said people will actually stop using houses as a store of value and use Bitcoin for all of that, leaving houses and apartments providing a utility only. That's the other really actually good caveat. You must have at some point heard of the housing crisis and things that are going on. It works out that apartment owners, homeowners, real estate investors would then move their money into something where they kind of don't really have to worry as much anymore. And then on the other side, rents would kind of level out. More people would be able to actually buy family homes, all while Bitcoin's price continues just going higher accordingly. Yeah, this is not the first time that someone has. We've had this for years. We've had news like this for a number of years, but very similar to the staking, to the yield, to the end of the 4-year cycle kind of thing. This news is also popping up a lot as well. It does make sense because we're also seeing it in real time. It's just we haven't gotten to the dramatic point yet where Bitcoin's at 1.4 million and we've seen the actual dramatic fall in real estate prices. That's what Bitcoin's deflation does. Bitcoin's price rises, Bitcoin's issuance rate drops, but the valuation of other things compared to Bitcoin also falls quite dramatically. We heard that years ago with someone talking about a TV and a car. As you put more money into the crypto market and into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's price goes higher, comparatively, or even just in general, people actually wait to buy things. You know that next year, that TV that you want that's $1,200 is going to be around $950 next year comparative to Bitcoin and also just a general drop in price. Yeah, interesting times ahead. So once again, hoping that everyone is paying attention before essentially it's too late. Not to end it on a dramatic note, but you understand. Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen. I'm also a real estate investor, so this also concerns me as well. A lot of question marks going on right now, but it does kind of make sense. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.